The emphasis with the Hare Krishnas is on Lord Chaitanya in conjunction with Krishna. Lord Chaitanya is Radha Krishna combined. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahayana. So this particular incarnation is actually the source of all incarnations, Lord Chaitanya. And there is a massive temple being constructed. It's actually called a Vedic Planetarium near Kolkata. And it's dedicated to spreading the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. So if you understand Krishna and Lord Chaitanya together, then that is the perfection of spiritual life. So I'll try to say something about that later. So I'm going to read a little bit about Bhagavad Gita, and I'm going to talk about the soul, because I was discussing with Mantra Chaitanya Prabhu about, I have a friend called Giridhari, and he does festivals around the country. And he told me, he asked me to give a class at one festival, and he gave me an outline, told me some of the things to say. So I said it, I presented it as he told me to. And I was kind of really happy to find out later on, someone came up to me and said, and he liked what I said, and he said, you didn't mention certain things that put people off. And I was thinking, he exactly appreciated because I was giving good instruction. So I'm going to share with you what he was saying with the purpose of that you if you can gain anything from what I've said, you can do the same. So what his presentation is, he's presenting Krishna consciousness scientifically and trying to take it away from some kind of geographical religion, because some people think it's an Indian thing. We want to present it as universal. And so he presented it, he told me how to present it in such a way it's universal. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Bhagavad Gita, and I'll try and share with you how he presented it, just because I was very enthusiastic that his advice to me actually worked, because someone got very enthusiastic, just the fact that I presented Krishna consciousness in a way that was kind of scientific. So I can't really take credit for doing that, because I was just following what I was told to do. And anyway, that's just an introduction. So I will read a verse from the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Does anyone not have a copy of this in their house, by the way? We have some. Do we have some? Yes. Oh, yeah. So I strongly urge everyone to get a copy. Not only that, think of any friends you have, give them a copy as well. And you can even take a donation from them, give it to Krishna like this. This is how the Hare Krishna movement spreads. So I received a kind introduction from Mantra Chaitanya. So he mentioned kirtan. So there's an interesting statement about kirtan. It's Kali Yugi, Yuga Dharma, Namara Prachar. That in this age of Kali, this is the dark age, the Yuga Dharma, which means the duty of the age, is to spread the holy name. And the word used is Namara Prachar. Anyone knows any Bengali? Namara means of the name, and Prachar means to propagate. So it's an interesting statement because the word propagation is there. So what it means is, when we distribute these books, that is also counted as kirtan because it is propagation of the name. You see? So when we chant congregationally, it's also said, Kali Kalera Dharma, Krishna Nama Sankirtan. In Kali Yuga, the Dharma is Krishna Nam Sankirtan, chanting the names of Krishna. So there's two different statements there. One is propagating the name, the other one is chanting the name congregationally. So both are there. And so we have this broad conception of what is kirtan. So kirtan is a wonderful thing. I'm going to get around to Bhagavad Gita, but I felt like saying this. Kirtan is a wonderful thing. And I'll tell you a story about Lord Chaitanya that highlights the importance of kirtan. So he went to Varanasi. Now, some of you may know Varanasi. It's a place of great philosophers in India, traditionally. And they used to take sannyas, they used to renounce this world, and they used to meditate on the Brahman. Brahman is the all-pervading feature of the Supreme. And they used to study the Vedanta Sutra, which is a very philosophical text. It's written by Veda Vyas. It's very prestigious literature. So they were very proud of their position as meditators on Brahman and as students and scholars of Vedanta Sutra. When Lord Chaitanya came, he was chanting like we were doing earlier, just a few moments ago. They were singing, playing musical instruments and chanting. And the sannyasis there, they said to him, you know, you're a sannyasi, you're supposed to be the chief, one of the chiefs of society, you're the highest order. You're supposed to be studying, you're supposed to be meditating, being more sober. Why are you, dancing, chanting, why are you like playing musical instruments? This is not really what a high-class person should do. You should be more philosophical. And he, with his charm and with his philosophy, he actually converted them. And the moral of the story is, dancing and chanting are actually very, very deep philosophical, of a deep philosophical basis. So the Hare Krishna movement, you don't think that because the Hare Krishnas are dancing and chanting that they're not philosophers. Actually, through the dancing and through the chanting, the realization comes within the heart. And I'll tell you a story of a devotee. Because in the early days, when the Hare Krishna movement started, people were very busy on the streets, dancing and chanting and distributing books. And they didn't have any time to read the books. So this devotee had this amazing experience. He used to sometimes give classes, and then he'd speak and he'd say things. And later on he'd think, why did I say that? And later on he'd read the books and he'd find what he had spoken was in the books, but he'd never read the book. So there's a statement in Bhagavad Gita, in the 10th chapter, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pradipurvakam dadami yogi buddhi yogam tam yena mama payanti te. If you constantly devote yourself to serving Krishna, then he'll give you the understanding within the heart. So even if you're not reading the books enough, but you should read the books, still he will carry what you lack. He will actually give you that spiritual knowledge within the heart. And the way it's done, Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Lord Chaitanya said, you purify the heart through the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. You see? So when we chant and dance on the streets, and we do it congregationally, we do it in this program, it's lovely to dance, lovely to chant, then we're actually inviting Krishna to enlighten us within the heart. He sees our endeavours and he reciprocates. So dancing and chanting and also taking spiritual foodstuff is all part of the process. It's joyfully performed, and it's also suitable for great philosophers. So just the point is, it's a mistake to think that philosophy is higher than chanting, because they all go together, they're all connected. Anyway, that's just a little preamble. So here's a verse from 2nd chapter, which is, if you look at it in terms of pages, it's the longest chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Now sometimes I'm tired, I don't want to read. So what I do is I put on audio, and you'll find Prabhupada's books on audio. There's websites, they have them. You can just listen to them online. It's easy. Because sometimes maybe you're tired, you want to lie down, but you want to hear something spiritual. So rather than make the effort to read, you can just lie and relax because you've had a hard day, and then you can just absorb the Krishna Katha, the Krishna talk. So I recently downloaded the Bhagavad Gita, and turns out it's over 4 hours long, the 2nd chapter. And they give word for word synonyms as well. And most chapters of the scriptures I hear are mostly 1 hour to 2 hours long. So 4 hours is a very long chapter, but it's a very important chapter because it's called Contents of the Gita Summarized. So if you want to tell someone what is Krishna consciousness, if you want to say, well, read that one chapter and you get an overview. And so as you'd imagine, a lot of it is about the soul. So I'm going to talk about the science of the soul, and this is verse 29. And it's got a word, before I read the Sanskrit, it's got a nice word, Ascharya. It actually means amazing. And the word Ascharya comes up 3 times in the verse, because Krishna consciousness is amazing. So here's the verse. Ascharyavat paschati kaschadenam, Ascharyavat vadate tataiva chanyaha, Ascharyavat chainam anya shrunoti srudvapyanam veda nachaiva kaschit. Some look on the soul as amazing. Some describe him as amazing. And and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. So sometimes I like to be interactive. So it's nice to chant that. We all chant this translation. So repeat after me. Some look on the soul as amazing.
Some look on the soul as amazing.
Some describe him as amazing.
Some describe him as amazing.
And some hear of him as amazing.
And some hear of him as amazing.
While others,
even
after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. So here's the purport. Since Gita Upanishad is largely based on the principles of the Upanishads, it is not surprising to also find this passage in the Katha Upanishad. Shravanaya pi bahubir yo na labhya, shrinvanto pi bahovo yam na vidyuhu, ascharya vakta kushalosya labdha, ascharyosya gyata kusalanushishtaha. The fact that the atomic soul is within the body of a gigantic animal, in the body of a gigantic banyan tree, and also in the microbic germs, millions and billions of which occupy only an inch of space, is certainly very amazing. Men with a poor fund of knowledge, and men who are not austere, cannot understand the wonders of the individual atomic spark of spirit, even though it is explained by the greatest authority of knowledge, who imparted lessons even to Brahma, the first living being in the universe. Owing to a gross material conception of things, most men in this age cannot imagine how such a small particle can become both so great and so small. So men look at the soul proper as wonderful, either by constitution or by description. Illusioned by the material energy, people are so engrossed in subject matters for sense gratification that they have very little time to understand the question of self-understanding, even though it is a fact that without this self-understanding, all activities result in ultimate defeat in the struggle for existence. Perhaps they have no idea that one must think of the soul and thus make a solution to the material miseries. Some people who are inclined to hear about the soul may be attending lectures in good association, but sometimes, owing to ignorance, they are misguided by acceptance of the supersoul and the atomic soul as one without distinction or magnitude. It is very difficult to find a man who perfectly understands the position of the supersoul, the atomic soul, their respective functions and relations, and all other major and minor details. And it is still more difficult to find a man who has actually derived full benefit from knowledge of the soul, and who is able to describe the position of the soul in different aspects. But if somehow or other one is able to understand the subject matter of the soul, then one's life is successful. The easiest process for understanding the subject matter of self, however, is to accept the statements of the Bhagavad Gita spoken by the greatest authority, Lord Sri Krishna, without being deviated by other theories. But it also requires a great deal of penance and sacrifice, either in this life or in the previous ones, before one is able to accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna can, however, be known as such by the causeless mercy of the pure devotee, and by no other way. Ascharya-vad paschati kaschadinam ascharya-vad vadati tataiva chanyaha ascharya-vad chainam manya shunoti shrudvapinam veda nachaiva kaschid. Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Sri Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is the wonderful science of the soul. So it's interesting that when I was a child, some 30 years ago, maybe 40 years ago, I'd never heard of yoga, and most people hadn't really heard of yoga. In fact, when I went to school, it was extremely unusual to be a vegetarian even. We just had this kind of one culture, British culture, and there wasn't so much, other people coming, other cultures merging. So at that time, I hadn't heard of yoga. Then when I was about 20-ish, yoga started to become popular. I noticed there was meditation centers coming up, springing up. I tried meditation. I tried this type of meditation where you sit there and then someone comes with a stick behind you and then hits you to redistribute your energy. I only went once, so I never got hit by the stick. But anyway, it was. And I'm disappointed that 20 years after that, we still have a misconception as to what yoga is. Some people think yoga means, you tie yourself in knots, and it's good for your health, tone up your muscles, sense of well-being. And some people think it's more than that, and maybe fix your mind on your nose or something and watch your breathing, try and sort of experience some altered state of consciousness. And that's generally what people think of as yoga. But the actual word yoga, and it comes from a Sanskrit term, and it means from the yuj dhatu, which means to join, to connect. So obviously if you connect, it means there's more than one thing. There's one scholar, he's a professor of Sanskrit, and he's a member of the Hare Krishna movement. So he was talking about this text called Yoga Vasishta, and he uses this argument because some people think that there's no God in Yoga Vasishta. And he said, well, actually there's two spirits. There must be two spirits because the word yoga necessarily means there's two. So you must be connected to something. So what is that something? Now, spiritual knowledge, it is hard to get because it is something valuable. And it's like if you want glass, right? You can go and buy a big sheet of glass. I've done it several times recently. My garden shed broke, and then I had a little accident with a minibus, so I had to replace a sheet of glass. Anyway, easy to get glass, not too expensive. But if you want a diamond, you're going to have to pay the price. So it's the same with knowledge. If you want some knowledge that's very valuable, you have to pay the price. But because people don't want to pay the price, they don't get the knowledge. And because it's hard to get, they don't believe in it, you see. Material sciences can be verified. See, I don't need to be an expert in material science to verify it. If I just see a car, or I see a rocket or a missile or a laser, I think, wow, that's pretty amazing. That's proof in itself that there's some truth behind this. But can I do that with spiritual things? Well, the answer is you can, but you have to do the process. So when we say to people, well, if you chant Hare Krishna, it's spiritual science, and it'll purify your heart, and then you'll get some realizations of Krishna. But who wants to do it? You have to have that initial investment. And this purport has said it's very rare that someone wants that, and you have to have had it from a previous life. So it's good fortune. And the point is, if we appreciate our own good fortune, then we should invest in that good fortune. Just like a businessman, if he makes a profit, he'll invest the profit. It makes it bigger, exponential growth. Not like if you're a millionaire and you want to invest that nicely, either you put it in a high interest account, or you'll put it in some shares and some stocks, etc. So you're always reinvesting. So we should do the same in spiritual life. If we have any kind of belief in anything beyond the material world, we should invest in it. And it's a process. As we invest, we get more knowledge. And as we get more knowledge, we reinvest, and it becomes increasing dedication. So dedication should be rededicated, rededication in that way. So I'll return to the example. So material science, even that, if you look at, I was kind of studying it a little bit recently. And what's amazing is, I mean, if you look at the greatest material scientists, most of them were not accepted at first. And I'll give you examples. We have this famous Higgs particle. Who's not heard of the Higgs particle? Everyone heard about the Higgs particle. They call it the God particle. When he originally submitted his paper, it was rejected. He said, this is too weird, and it's not practical. I mean, it's not really physics. It's kind of some mathematical game we play or something. So then he had to rewrote it. He wrote one extra sentence. He said, one of the consequences of this theory is it suggests that there must be a new particle which could be perhaps discovered in the future. And then they kind of accepted it. The same with Albert Einstein. He had this theory of relativity, and most scientists thought it's pretty amazing, but it's not real. I mean, time changes, space changes with motion. It's like everything's weird, black holes. It's too crazy, so they didn't accept it. So just because something is not accepted by the public doesn't mean it's not true. So the thing with spiritual science, it says it is very rare. It's rare that someone will have access to it. Therefore, don't be surprised that not many people think of it, not many people believe in it. But the point is, science is verifiable. That's one of the criteria of science. So how do you verify the Hare Krishna philosophy? The answer is you chant Hare Krishna. And then the heart becomes purified, and then the realizations come, and then bingo, you've discovered that you've actually shown is correct. So I'll give some examples of how much of what is written in this literature is obviously true, because some of it we can't prove to people out there. I can't prove reincarnation. But if you go on YouTube, you'll find lots of stories of children who start talking about their previous life, and they start mentioning their name, where they lived, etc., what they were doing. And much research has gone into that and discovered, actually, how did this child know it? It's all correct. You've got to come up with some weird theory to try and explain that without a reincarnation. You know, like near-death experience is another example. I mean, you've got to be a really creative neuroscientist to find a theory that explains why it is that when you're completely unconscious, because you've got no oxygen coming to your brain, you can still watch from above yourself at what's going on in your surgery, when you're undergoing surgery or something like that. There's so many examples like that. So it's easier just to accept that you're not this body and you've come out of the body and you still have an awareness outside of your body. It's easier to accept that and to come up with some theory how someone whose brain, by modern scientific standards, is unconscious, is dead pretty much, how that person can have such vivid recollections. Anyway, so here's some example of the word Bhagavan. Does anyone know what the word Bhagavan means? Anyone like to say?
Supreme Lord.
Supreme Lord, yeah.
He who possesses all opulence.
Yes, he possesses all opulences. So there's a Sanskrit verse for this. Aishvaryasya samagrasya viryasya yashashashriya jnana vairagya yor chaiva sharam bhaga itim vyana. The Lord has all opulence, he has all strength. Aishvaryasya is wealth. Yes, Shriya is wealth. Aishvaryasya samagrasya viryasya means strength. Yashasha means faith. Sriya means beauty. Jnana means knowledge. And Vairagya means renunciation. And these 6 things, the first one was opulence, wealth. It was wealth, actually. Anyway, so this is what Bhagavan is defined as. Now, here's where we get really, really obviously the case, right? If you look at these opulences, take the first one, take wealth, for example. Now, who can deny that wealth is not attractive, right? People go through to so much endeavour for wealth. I mean, to give an example, sometimes you have the mercenary soldiers, they'll risk their life because they're getting good pay, because in war people spend money throw away money like paper. So they're prepared to risk their life in order to become wealthy. That's how much money means to some people. Or in this country, you know, go through university and have maybe £40,000 debt. But it's worth it because you're going to get a good job and earn some money later on. Right? So people are prepared to sacrifice wealth short term in order to get more wealth later on. Right? So wealth is obviously attractive. And those who know what the word Krishna means will kind of know where I'm going here. Now let's take another example. Virya, strength. And again, strength is so much attractive, you know. Sports stars are modern day heroes because they have strength, they have agility. People, everywhere you go, there are gyms, people lifting weights, you know, or people going jogging in order to be healthy and stuff. So people really like to have a strong body, a healthy body. And people will go to so much effort. You know, if someone invented a food that could reverse aging, right? That person wouldn't be a millionaire, they wouldn't be a billionaire, they'd be a trillionaire, wouldn't they? I mean, who would not take it? Who would not pay thousands of pounds in order to reverse aging? Because people are so into strength in their body. And then another example is fame. So many people try hard for fame. Beauty. Obviously people are attracted to beauty. The beauty industry is still it's one of the biggest industries in the world. And once again, if someone could reverse the aging process, wow, I mean, how many people would not take a pill that could make them look younger, you know? And then knowledge, I mentioned knowledge before. So knowledge is another one. I mentioned university. People go to university. I was thinking about it. There's main for me, there's three main reasons they go to university. One is because they just want knowledge, because knowledge in and of itself is attractive. Two is because they think they're going to earn more money by going there. And some people go for artistic reasons because of beauty. They like to see beautiful things or create beautiful things, or they like to hear beautiful music and play beautiful music. So these are three of the things I just mentioned. We mentioned Bhagavan, he's got 6 opulences. So 3 of them, knowledge and beauty and wealth, they're all there in Bhagavan. And the other ones, okay, renunciation. Are people interested in renunciation? Depends how you present it. Would you like to be chilled out so that even if someone's annoying you, it doesn't bother you, or just completely cool? To be cool-headed, not be bothered by things, that's kind of a type of renunciation. People would like to be like that. When I was younger, they had this program called, this character called the Fonz, right? Fonzie, right? And he was so cool, and sometimes he'd kind of get excited, and his friends would all get excited, and suddenly he'd go, hey, let's get cool again. And you suddenly go back to being cool. So that's kind of, some people, when they meditate, they want to just be detached, just be cool in all circumstances. So that's another opulence, right? So the point I'm making is the whole world is so much into the opulences that I mentioned, these 6 opulences. Everyone wants them. Now there's another thing, not only do we want them, but we idolize, we hero worship people who have them. If you go into the room of any teenager in this country, you'll probably see a picture of maybe Cristiano Ronaldo, some football player, or maybe some famous pop singer, some beauty queen or something. People are going to idolize people who have beauty or strength or agility to some degree. And then there are so many people in the business world, and then they just idolize the billionaires, the real big billionaires. They think, wow, he's my role model, I want to be like him. So all this kind of hero worship, it's still going on in connection with Bhagavan's opulences. So then the question is, no one can argue that Bhagavan is all attractive. Now the word for Bhagavan is Krishna. Krishna means all attractive. So when I say Bhagavan's all attractive, no one can deny that, right? You may say, I don't believe there's some person, Bhagavan. That's fine. But no one can deny that these opulences are attractive, because we all know the world goes round on these opulences. That's what makes the world go round. Somebody say money makes the world go round, right? That's a part of it. There's more than that. Beauty makes the world go round. Strength, knowledge makes the world go round. It's all there. Without knowledge, knowledge is power. People who have knowledge, they end up with power. They can create things, they can control societies. Knowledge is power, beauty is power. Even like a leader, a king, can be brought down from his position if he becomes captivated by a woman who doesn't have his best interests at heart. So beauty is another type of power. So the power, the attractiveness, the word Krishna means all attractive. So then Krishna is all attractive, and he has these 6 opulences. So whether you believe in a person, Krishna, or not, obviously these opulences are attractive. And that's the point I'm making. So the next question is there a person that possesses all these opulences and possesses them in full? Well, according to the books of knowledge, there is. So that's what's required, is we suspend our own doubt and we think, well, let's give it a chance. Let's just suppose maybe these books are actually correct. Maybe what's written in there is correct. Now, at the end of the purport, it says you can't understand it unless you receive the knowledge from someone who's self-realized. Then we find exactly what it was said. Interesting statement. The last sentence was, Krishna can, however, be known as such by the causeless mercy of the pure devotee and by no other way. So, Prabhupada, the founder of ISKCON, he would sometimes give the example. He would say, if you want to be a brain surgeon, right, you got to go to a brain surgeon, and the brain surgeon will teach you. And he even said, you can't just pick up a book from a bookshop about brain surgery, read it, and then start doing brain surgery. You obviously need proper training from someone who's an expert. So it's the same with spiritual knowledge. We need that particular help from the pure devotee in order to advance spiritually. Therefore, in spiritual life, it's not just about reading the book, it's also about serving the devotees. We want to help other people. Now, service is for some people it's a bad word. We want to be the master, right? But actually, service is very much valued in the world. If you look at politicians, they're strictly speaking, they're public servants, right? People do it as a service to my country. When people go to war, we admire soldiers, service to the country. So it's the same with spiritual life. If you actually start becoming the servant of everyone, you can be sure people will start to really appreciate you. The service attitude, it's not easy to have because we all want to be master, we want to be served. But if we can take that position of being the servant, people will notice it. And I'll tell you a little bit about a famous devotee in our movement. His name's Jayananda Prabhu. So he got sick, and he ended up he left his body. I don't know how old he was, 40s probably. Anyway, he was such a servant and had such an attitude of service that so many people, just by meeting him, they would cry. There was one interesting story. It's like he really wanted something for Krishna. He had no money, so he went into a shop and stole something, and he got caught. So he went before the judge, and then he just explained from his heart why he was doing it. He said, everything belongs to Krishna. I didn't want to do this, but I had to do. And then his speech was so moving that the policeman there at the case, he started crying, and he actually got out money from his own pocket and said, I'm going to pay for this, because he was touched by the person. It's an interesting story. It's the moral of the story is not that you go and you start shoplifting. The point is, like, if you see everything as belonging to Krishna and you serve Krishna with all your heart, then your actual being, you'll exude compassion. You'll just be an attractive person. We're talking here about Krishna. The point is, if Krishna's all attractive, so if you become a servant of Krishna, then you become attractive as well. Srila Prabhupada, another example. He came to the West. He grew up in India, he was in Calcutta, he was travelling around India as a businessman, wasn't successful in business. He ended up on the order of a spiritual master, came to give the spiritual knowledge to all of us. And he just, how can we say it, the number of people that he'd walk, he's the kind of person, he'd walk into a room and people would just be like, just start crying, or he'd just be like, or he'd look at you and you just felt like this person is just an ocean of compassion. And you felt that he could read your mind. He had charisma was just like, it wasn't just a little bit, it was just like bundles of it. Physically he was a small man, but his charisma, his influence, how he changed and transformed a room, unbelievable. These are examples of devotees. So I was talking about knowledge. So there's a word for knowledge, Veda. It's there, book there, Veda. If you want to get an introduction to topics that really relate to people, Veda is a very good one. If I want to give someone a chance in Krishna consciousness, I would give them Veda. And Bhagavad Gita is like, it's the most complete of all these books on this table. but it's also very philosophical. It's got a lot of Sanskrit, and it can be hard for some people to begin with. So if you know someone, you think maybe this is a bit too hard for them, you're not going to get it. And then Veda is more English, less Sanskrit, and it's like an introduction, which will take someone to the point where they can actually delve deeper into the actual main scripture, which is Bhagavad Gita. So the word Veda means knowledge. See? So Prabhupada once said, we don't talk of Hindu gold, Muslim gold, Christian gold. He said gold is gold. There's only one thing, it's the substance. So it's the same with spirituality. There aren't varieties. The reason there are varieties is different tastes for different people. But if you want to strip all the differences and go to the essence, you'll find the essence is the same in all these traditions. And it's just knowledge is knowledge. And the ultimate knowledge is to understand this one thing, Nityo Nityanam, Chaitanas Chaitananam, that there is many eternal beings. We're all eternal beings. We're all spiritual by nature. We're not these bodies. We're eternal beings. But of the eternal beings, there is one supreme eternal. Chaitanas Chaitananam. We're all conscious. But of all conscious entities, there is one supreme consciousness. And I mentioned how Krishna is all attractive. So one of our teachers, he said, No jane janita kyat biramvataya, Krishneti varnadvayu. So no one can know how much nectar is in the two syllables, Krishna. So the point is, this is supreme eternal, has mercifully descended in the form of sound. Yes, the Maha Mantra is the sound incarnation of Krishna. This is where spirituality blows your mind. I mean, how could it be possible? How can sound be a person? How can a person be represented as sound? Doesn't make sense, right? But in the spiritual world, these things happen. That's why mantra, I talked about meditation. Mantra meditation is also becoming quite well known in the West, and people have different mantras to chant. But of all the mantras, the Hare Krishna mantra is it's known as Mantra Raj, which means it's the king of all mantras. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And that's what I wanted to say today. And I'll finish just on that last point. Kali Kali Namarupi Krishna Avatar. In Kali Yuga, Krishna descends in the form of his name. You see? That's why I try to chant Hare Krishna. So it's right, I try and do it on the street. It's not a vow, but I have a goal. I want to spend at least a year of my life on the street chanting Hare Krishna. And I've worked it out, I've spent about 8 months so far. But anyway, I don't consider I've accomplished so much, because part of the reason I chant Hare Krishna in the street is because I'm very terrible at distributing Prabhupada's books. When I go and approach people, they never seem to want to take a book. So I feel like I do better just chanting with a group of us. I mean, people come and chant and they distribute books. People with more ability, they come with us and they distribute. And as a team, there's 3 things you can do in chanting party. These chanting parties are wonderful. So do you do chanting every Saturday? Okay, so every Saturday you can come and do chanting. You just come here an hour early. Mantra Chaitanya's here, and he'll go on the street, take you up and down the streets of Canterbury. And you can put on sunglasses and a wig in case you meet someone you don't know. You don't want to be embarrassed. But you get over it, you know. I used to meet my work colleagues on the street, and it was just hilarious. They were looking at me and laughing, and I was enjoying the whole thing. There was no embarrassment at all, and they'd come up and shake my hand, and I'd just carry on chanting Hare Krishna. It doesn't matter, you know. Because actually, in the spiritual world, and there is a spiritual world, everyone's chanting Hare Krishna, because that's where all the love, it's a fountainhead of love. I mentioned the 6 opulences, so then if you chant Hare Krishna sincerely, dedicate your life to this, then all the opulences, you'll understand them, and you won't be envious of someone who has them, because there's a slight transformation of ego. This is very important in spiritual life. The material life means ahamkara. Ahamkara means false ego. It means aham, I, So material life means centered around I. Spiritual life centered around Krishna. And it starts off centered around Krishna and not Krishna's parts. But as you become more advanced, then you see, not only do you see Krishna, but you see everyone else as part of Krishna. And then it becomes service to Krishna, becomes service to everyone, because everyone is connected to Krishna. So that's when the aham disappears and one just becomes a servant of everyone else. So I mentioned how servants are popular. And I remember the day when Theresa May she launched her bid to be the leader to be Prime Minister. And of course there was a problem because she was against Brexit, but then the service of the Prime Minister was to implement the Brexit policy. So then she said, I've always been motivated not by ideology but by service. And I was thinking, I know why you're saying that, because you're going to have to implement a policy you didn't vote for, you didn't want. But the point is, if you present yourself, and I don't know how successful she was, but if you present yourself as I am a servant, I'm the servant of everyone, I'm the servant of Britain, then people will like you, because people like servants, people who dedicate themselves to others. So that's what spiritual life's about. We all dedicate ourselves to Krishna, and then we understand not only Krishna, but everyone else is part of Krishna. So you can't, for example, say you worship Krishna, and then you treat devotees badly. It doesn't work that way, because devotees are dear to Krishna. So if you want to be dear to Krishna, Prabhupada said, love me, love my dog. You know, someone's walking a dog and you see, what a beautiful dog you've got. The owner's naturally happy. So it's the same in spiritual life. The way we please Krishna is we serve each other. And so community is a great thing. It's like, I know what it's like to try and organise a Harinam party. So when a few extra people come, it's really, really happy to do that. And it's the same when you're running a centre. If you have a centre, I don't know what it's like, what Mantra Chaitanya thinks, but if I were doing this, I'd be thinking, I just hope people come, it's like the more people the better, and it's like, hope we have a good kirtan and everything's really nice. Because that's just the way I think when I was trying to do certain events and organise events. So from that point of view, it's wonderful, because he told me beforehand that people start coming and they bring friends. So this kind of growth is wonderful. Look at the size of this room. We could fit in 3 times as many people. And imagine what the kirtan would be like. We're all chanting Hare Krishna in front of the deities. It's just like, it's going to create a really good spiritual atmosphere. But we should also remember as well, because Prabhupada said it's a science and science is for everyone. So we have to really think, how are we going to give it for everyone? Because naturally, people from India or from Indian background, naturally they're attracted to the Hare Krishnas because part of the culture. But the point is, Prabhupada came to give it to everyone, so we have to really start using our noodles. Think, how are we going to present it to everyone? So it's like, bring a friend, and try and bring a friend who comes from a different tradition altogether. Bring your, this. I know some of an Arab. Even Arabs, they come and they become Hare Krishnas. I know of a friend who preached to an Arab woman and she became a Hare Krishna. It's amazing. So like we have Christians, we have atheists. They all come to the Hare Krishnas. So this is wonderful. And we all practice the spiritual science together. And as I say, it's not a blind thing. It's not a blind faith. It's scientific, and we simply have to experiment and follow the process, and everything will be revealed. Hare Krishna. So I'll pause here. What time is your kirtan again? Quite soon, right? I'd imagine.
Yeah, we have like 15 minutes for questions. Yeah.
We can have 15 minutes, and if there's no questions, I'll just do more kirtan. But anyway, any comments or questions? Is anyone thinking on the borderline, thinking maybe I should try chanting Hare Krishna on the street, and they're not quite need to get over that hurdle? If you're one of those people, then come and speak to me. I'll try and encourage you. For me, it's like a breakthrough in my spiritual life. Well, actually, I did it quite early on, so it wasn't a hurdle. But for me, it became a support for my spiritual life. I made it a sort of a priority, and that just became the service that I was doing. And so I certainly I always find I feel life is, I'm addicted to it, Some people they drink alcohol, and if they don't take alcohol for a few days, they get irritable. So I'm a bit like that. So I don't go out in the street chanting Hare Krishna for a few days, and I'm like, I've got to get out there, It's just, it kind of like, it's like a breath of fresh air for me to do that. And it was nice today. I was really enjoying it. Even though it was raining, I was really feeling happy. And I noticed the people in Canterbury, they're very receptive, because if you wave to them, they always wave back. They kind of smile and they kind of give you the thumbs up. So there's a nice mood. It's a very kind of open kind of mood in this city. There's nice sort of nice vibration here. I think it's kind of good. And I think in summer there's lots of tourists coming through, and that's another tourists and Hare Krishnas get on well together. Because I do a lot of chanting in central London, and there's always tourists, and I find they like to take part. So on the point of dancing, so if someone just comes and even for fun, they just dance on the street with the Hare Krishnas, that itself, that one act of dancing, that is spiritually done something to that person. Krishna's noticed that. He's like, that person has actually danced and chanted my name. Krishna notices that. He never forgets. So we shouldn't underestimate the benefit of dancing. And actually, it's not only dancing, not only does it bring love of God, but when you have love of God, automatically you dance. It's like, it says in the spiritual world, every step is a dance. They don't walk in the spiritual world, they just dance. They don't talk, they sing. You just sing, you dance. It's a lovely way to get a habit of. So like, after this program, for example, you might find yourself chanting Hare Krishna just in your head. And you just start singing, When you come into your house, just chant Hare Krishna. You're doing the housework, just chant Hare Krishna and sing, Just happy, just be happy. No one's telling you not to be miserable, right? So just be happy, it's free. Chanting Hare Krishna is free, makes you happy. And dancing, Prabhupada said, dancing unlocks devotion. Just imagine that. There's a certain, it's one of the art forms in spiritual dancing. Hare Krishna. So,
it was more of a point actually. I remember when I first went out on the street in Brighton, and I was a musician at the time, so I knew a lot of people, I had a lot of friends in Brighton, and they were like, cool people and whatever. And devotees taught me into going out, so I said, okay, I'll go. And I remember standing there thinking, what the hell have I done? And I couldn't really back out because I looked stupid in front of the devotees, but if I chant, I looked stupid in front of everyone else, and I was thinking, oh no, whatever. Within about 15 seconds I had a tambourine and I was jumping around, and it was so nice. And then afterwards I saw my friend, and they actually had quite a lot of respect for me. I went to the rehearsal studio, recording studio, and my friend's like, didn't I see you doing that? And I explained what I was doing, And I was thinking, well, I wish I had the guts to do something like that. And they actually had a lot of respect for me, which I didn't think would happen. So I was quite surprised.
So just sometimes we have little blockages that we don't want to do something, and then when you finally do it, you think, if only I'd done that years ago. It was nothing. I made a big mountain out of it. I made a molehill into a mountain. But anyway, next Sunday, Ratha Yatra in central London. It's the biggest Ratha Yatra in the UK each year. So we're talking tens of thousands of people. We all descend and start on the Hyde Park corner, and we end up at Trafalgar Square. 3 big Rath carts. It's going to be huge. It always is every year. Free food as well, and it's just a lovely chance to go on the street and chant. So as I mentioned, some people find it difficult to chant on the street. You come to Ratha Yatra because when you've got 10,000 other people doing it at the same time, then it's not a big deal. You feel okay. You don't feel like you stand out. And so it's hopefully the weather will be good. And there's always things going on. The Hare Krishnas, they have what's known as Avanti schools. So then there's going to be little Ratha Yatras arranged on this Friday in London, in some of the Avanti schools. One of my friends, Parashuram, he's organising a Ratha Yatra, so we're going to have a Ratha Yatra for the children in these schools can take part in this Ratha Yatra process. So Krishna consciousness is for everyone. We have to find ways to engage the children, we have to be caring for old people. From the beginning, from the cradle to the grave, everyone deserves attention, and everyone has a right to develop spiritually and should be encouraged to do so.